what's up? Hello, it's Lit Life with Miranda Rees, and today we are... As the world seems to be approaching ever closer to the apocalypse, we must ask ourselves, what kind of apocalypse would really be the best one to live through? I'm glad we are all on the same page with this question. So today I'm going to be doing a Lit Worlds to Live In Apocalypse Edition. So I'm going to take some of my favorite and some of the most well-known apocalyptic books and figure out where would be the best place, aka would I thrive, survive, or take a dive if I was in the apocalypse. We do have a couple of rules. One is that we're not the chosen one, so there isn't a guarantee of survival. We're going to be in kind of the secondary, tertiary characters, so we're kind of around the action, but we aren't a member of the elite few who is guaranteed to make their way to book 3. The other thing we have to accept is we have to play by the rules of the apocalypse. So even if personally I would never leave my house in the apocalypse, if this whole book is journeying to and from places, that's what we're going to do. All right? And unfortunately, the last one involves Squamish. So I know last time I did the video, I was talking all about the different ways we would bring Squamish with us on these literary worlds. However, as Squamish's mom, I honestly... You are so affectionate. I love you. As Squamish's mom, I say this with the utmost love, but he is a one-time warning system. He just loves to let me know whoever is at the door. He loves to try and protect me despite being barely 8 pounds. So he won't be able to come with us on the apocalypse journey. First up, we have World War Z, which is a truly, I would go so far as to say groundbreaking apocalyptic book. World War Z is told from the perspective of an oral historian, and he has gone all across America and all across the world interviewing people with their experience in the zombie apocalypse. And you go from horrific to heartwarming, back to horrific, because this is mostly a zombie apocalypse book. As far as survivability, so you do have to keep in mind that these are the scramblers, the slower zombies. These aren't sprintable zombies. So I highly doubt I would be able to thrive in this situation, but I think I could do a little bit more than survive. A lot of the strategies from the secondary characters is literally just being able to walk all day and then finding a place at night away from a horde. Okay, in all honesty, a little bit closer to that barrier between thrive and survive, probably where I would be for this one. Okay, so the Wilder girls. In this world, we have an all-girls school. The girls in this school are definitely surviving an apocalyptic situation. They're these different mutations that these girls are developing. And every so often, one of them dies and disappears. Well, once that happens to the main character's best friend, she decides to go after her, and then it kind of blows the lid off of the whole situation. Putting ourselves into this situation, we would be one of the teenage girls, and they're very self-sufficient. There's a lot of things trying to kill them, but they're trained, they work together very well as a team, and I think we could, right here, not quite thrive in the situation, but we would do more than survive. Okay, so the Mother Code actually hasn't come out yet, but it fits really well with what's happening right now in our world. In this world, we have an archaea. It becomes infectious and people just start dropping like flies. Now there's 2 main groups that can survive this. There's one people who are immune to the situation, and then there's the children who were made genetically immune and were raised by robots. It sounds a little out there, but at the same time it worked really well as a book. And in either situation, I think we would be able to thrive. Because if we were one of the people who were naturally immune to the disease, the community is there, they are very wonderful, they're very welcoming. And if we were one of the children, we would be protected by this overpowered robot. But if you were one of the people who is on the right side and is part of like kind of like the background characters, you pretty much guaranteed a survival. Jurassic Park. So Jurassic Park, it's not a world apocalypse, but once things start to get released inside the park, it's like an apocalypse to all the people in there. I know like a lot of people have seen this movie, and I want to just let you know that this book is amazing. It's definitely one of my absolute favorites, and it's so well written, and it was written so long ago, but yet all of the science holds like incredibly well. I would definitely say we would probably be dead. See, these are dinosaurs who are hungry, and we don't really have much defense against that. There are some weapons that are used in this book, there are some strategies, but as a general side character, we're out. Alright, so next up we have The Host. And The Host is definitely one of those ones that's like, is this dystopian? Is this apocalypse? However, considering that we are looking at a pocket full of humans that managed to survive the alien apocalypse, I think we're still very much in that apocalyptic category. So in The Host, there are these aliens called souls, and what they do is they can enter a host's body, take over, and just live life as a host. What we follow here is a soul named Wanderer. Wanderer gets inserted into a human. The human is part of the resistance. When she is inside the host, all of a sudden she realizes that the host is still alive. Now for this one, obviously if we were part of the regular humans, so like that's like the quaternary characters, our minds would be absolutely erased and we would be dead. However, since we are a secondary character in this book, that means we'd probably be part of the human resistance and we would be thriving. Obviously it'd be a lot of hard manual labor trying to keep everyone together, maintain their little subsect of the world, but it ends up being, I'd say, a very survivable, a very thrivable situation here. So The Maze Runner. So The Maze Runner is a book that is personally extremely frustrating. Thomas wakes up in the Glen. He's surrounded by a bunch of boys who've been there for up to 3 years, and they are always running this maze trying to figure a way out. There's creatures in the maze trying to kill them. Now they are in a situation where they have to get out of the maze or all of them are going to die. Personally, I would probably take a dive because everyone around me is an idiot. I don't want to spoil it, even though this series has been out for a fairly long time. I don't want to spoil it, but essentially the method that they use to try and solve the apocalypse is so patently false and so poorly thought out that it didn't have a hope of a prayer to work. Maybe this one is a little bit more leaning towards dystopian, but it is on the heels of an apocalypse, and there are some actions that kind of take it away from the comfortable dystopian society and start to bring it back into the apocalypse. So in this situation, you are sorted into a different category in society based off of your internal traits. If you're very smart and you're very logic focused, you go to erudite. If you're friendly and you want to help people, you go to amity. Anyway, you just get sorted. Once you're a teenager, you can't ever leave. I don't want to give this one away either. However, again, the reasoning is only a hair better than The Maze Runner for like why the apocalypse happened and why their society is doing what they're doing. That being said, as a secondary character, so long as I'm not too close to the main character, I could probably survive this. So the girl with all the gifts. In this world, there are these children who are immune to the zombie apocalypse. However, they are also somewhat zombies themselves. We follow a young girl as she travels with a bunch of scientists and a bunch of army people as they're trying to figure out the cure for the zombie apocalypse. Now, this is probably one of the more frustrating books I've read, but it actually is starting to mirror real life pretty well. I guess the author was being realistic. Essentially, all the scientists are like, no. All the army people like, no, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to listen to you. You're just a dumb science nerd. And then they all kind of get screwed. So I guess it kind of fits with real life, doesn't it? So for the girl with all the gifts, if I am part of this, I think there is a slim chance that if the main character likes me as a secondary character, we won't completely die, but odds are we're not going to last very long at all. So next up we have The Girl in Red by Christina Henry. And this is a Red Riding Hood retelling, but with an apocalypse happening. Our main character in this one, she is missing a leg, and she has been for a very long time. And she knows that she wants to go to grandmother's house. First of all, I loved it. I love fairy tale retellings, and I love like dark twists on fairy tale retellings. And in this apocalypse world, I think we could thrive. Because for this one, our main character, all she really does is follow logic, like logical rules. And it's amazing how well that works for surviving the freaking apocalypse. The Forest of Hands and Teeth. I love the cover, and that's like what got me. And I love the concept. So in this world, our main character, she is in one of the very few like bubbles of society left. And it's surrounded by this chain link fence, and on the other side of the chain link fence is another like a corridor fence that's wide enough for someone to walk through. Essentially, apocalypse happens to her little bubble of society, and she has to start walking these paths to try and find a new society. So for this one, as long as we don't do what the main character does, which is like a ton of dumb decisions, I think we'd be okay. The only thing that would cause issue is that the zombies, if there's a group of zombies and you're turned into a zombie, you become a shambler. If there aren't zombies around and you're turned into a zombie, you become a runner, which means that you're one of those fast zombies and you can catch up to humans really, really easily. That does add an aspect to the zombies that is troublesome and worrisome. Other than that, though, I think it would be possibly survivable. So probably in between survive and take a dive. Because I feel like a lot of the misfortunes from this one was just the main character doing really dumb things. Okay, so then we have Warm Bodies, which was, teenage Miranda was obsessed with warm bodies. This is a zombie apocalypse, but what if the zombies kind of grew a brain and realized that they want more from life? The movie was one of my absolute favorites when it came out. The book, rereading it when I'm older, I definitely see some flaws I didn't spot when I was younger, but I still really enjoyed it. So for this one, if we were a human in society, I think in the very end, there's definitely something that happens that pushes it into the thrive category, and this is definitely one of the more survivable sort of apocalypses. And the last one we have is Bird Box. So Bird Box is, you probably saw the Netflix movie by now. It's this concept where there's something in society where if you look at it, you go insane and kill yourself. And our main character has 2 children, and she has to try and get them old enough to survive and be able to escape into somewhere safer. I just don't think I could survive a situation where I can't use my eyes. I mean, there are ways to kind of work around that, but there's so many situations where your first instinct is to look and see what the monsters are or what they're doing, or how to even like get to a grocery store or get to a garden or something to try and grow your food. So I think this one is just, the concept is there. The book is really, really good, but I would not survive this situation. All right, that's it. That is our Thrive, Survive, Take a Dive, Lit Worlds Live In Apocalypse Edition. Thank you so much for watching, and happy reading. Bye.